Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, a quick recap what we have done so far in last two sessions. So what was the first session? First session was search for happiness. And during the search for happiness, we discussed how are we special as human beings. Even though we are trying to find happiness in this world, but there is always some or other problem. Even though this material world, this whole media, social media, everything promotes sense enjoyment. You do this, you will find happiness. You buy this, you will get happiness. You visit this place, you will get happiness. But still, happiness kind of runs away. And what are the real problems of life? We classify the problems in three categories. Adhyatmik klesh, adhibhautik klesh, adhidevik klesh. No matter how much we try to find happiness with our senses, all that lead to some misery. So if we really want to solve the problems, we have to go to the root. And then in the second session, we discussed, what was the topic for the second session? Search for our real identity. Right? Who am I? We are not this body, we are the spirit soul. And if we understand our real identity and we try to work based on that, then there is some scope we may be able to get to the level of real happiness. Because the example is, the car needs its fuel. You cannot put some jalebi, rasgulla, samosa in the car and expect the car to work. And same way for the driver, you cannot put the fuel inside the driver thinking the driver should be happy. So the driver has his food, the car has his food. So same way this body is just a vehicle. And we are trying to become happy based on the bodily concept of life, bodily consciousness. Not understanding our real identity. Now the third topic for today's discussion is the search for God. In the first session, if you remember, I gave the example, if we really want to solve the problem, we have to get to the root. If somebody keep getting on fever, right? And you just take a blanket or eat a Tylenol, thinking that, okay, I will solve the problem. Till we go to the root, why this fever is coming again and again. Did I get typhoid? Did I get some dengue or what? Right? Why this fever is coming again and again. So until we get to the root, it's hard to solve the problem. So the third topic is the search for God. Is there an underlying principle behind everything? Does God really exist? So that is our topic for today. Now I gave this first day and second day, we talked about so many problems. But we didn't talk about the answer yet. So this is just a cartoon showing. You go to somebody, oh, I have so many problems. And this person says, I have solution to all your problems. You have to be patient. You have to wait. Wait till how long? Just wait till my Google results load up. You want to search everything in Google. Oh, I have this problem. Let me try to find the answer for that problem. And if the person tells you, just wait on, let my results load up. No, you don't have to wait for that long. We have the answer to all the questions. The scripture have the answer to all those questions. We have to find out the answer in a systematic way. So does God really exist? So this is the first question. In scripture, there are two words used. Astik and Nastik. Right? Everybody familiar with little Hindi? So you know these two words, Astik and Nastik. Astik. From where does this word Astik comes? Asti. Asti means what exists. Hai. Asti means hai. So if somebody believes in existence of God, कि भगवान है, God exists, that person is called Astik. And the opposite of that is na asti, does not exist. Bhagwan nahi hai, that is Nastik. So if somebody says, yes, God does exist, that person is considered a theist. And if somebody says God does not exist, that person is considered atheist. Na asti. Now how many of you have full conviction that yes, God does exist? 100% conviction, everybody? So I see some hand raised, some hand not raised. So we all are like this half-baked potatoes. Sometimes we have full conviction. Yes, God is there. Everybody is managed by God. Everybody is controlled by God. Everything is controlled by God. And some other time, some misery come in life, some other problem come in life, not to us, maybe somewhere in the world, and we get this doubt. भगवान है क्या? अगर भगवान है तो इतने सब समस्या क्यों है संसार में? If God does exist, why there are so many problems? Why this is happening? Why that is happening? So many natural disasters, so many disasters or problems caused by other people, terrorism and this thing or that thing. So if God exists, why so many problems? So we get this confusion, bewilderment in mind. Does God really exist? Once there was a sadhu who arrived on the outskirts of a village. So he was residing there. And the villagers thought, let's invite this sadhu to our village. Let's hear something from him. Maybe he will tell us some great knowledge. So they invited the sadhu. The sadhu came. As soon as sadhu came, sat on his seat, he asked first question, one question. How many of you believe in existence of God? So some of the people, actually everybody raised hand. So when he asked the question, how many of you believe in existence of God? Everybody raised hand. Yes, we believe in existence of God. And Sadhu said, you are all such nice people. You all believe in God. What is the point of me speaking? So he rose up and walked away. So he got up and walked away. You all already know about God. What can I tell you? This person, all the villagers were confused, bewildered. What is this? We want to hear something from him. And he just walked away. So next time, let's call him again. If he asks same question, how many of you believe in existence of God? Nobody raised hand. Okay? So they called him again. The sadhu came, asked the same question. How many of you believe in existence of God? Nobody raised a hand. And the sadhu said, what? Nobody believe in God? What is the point of me speaking about God? He got up and walked away. All the villagers again, what is this happening? Next time, let's call him again. This time, half of people this side, raise your hand. Yes, we believe in God. Half of the people do not raise hand. Mixed crowd. So they invited the sadhu. Sadhu asked the same question again. This time, half people raised, half people did not raise. So the sadhu said, half of you who believe in existence of God convince the others who do not believe in existence of God. What is the point of me speaking? So what is the point here? People, all of us are like half-baked potatoes. Sometimes we think, yes, maybe there is some God somewhere. And other time we think, no, maybe there is no God. If God were there, why there will be so many problems? Why this will happen? Why that will happen? Why everybody will not be happy? Everybody are children of God, so if God is there, God is a loving Father, everybody should be happy. Why there is problem? So everybody get these kind of different concepts. Some people think God is there to keep some morality in the society. That is what the need of God is. That's why somebody has created this concept of God to keep some morality within the society. So people will behave properly, people will stick to some moral principles. Otherwise, there is no God. Now, is God something to just keep morality in society? Like sometime when the mother is trying to put the child to sleep, mother क्या बोलती है? Mother tells babies, go to sleep, बेटा सो जाओ, नहीं तो शेर आ जाएगा. So just to scare the person, to scare the child, to put him to sleep, mother says something. Same way people think God, there's nothing like God. It is just to bring some morality in the society, to keep some fear among people, fear of God. That's why this concept has been created. How many of people actually believe in God just out of fear? Maybe if God is there, maybe if somebody like that is there, let him be satisfied, let him not cause any problem in my life. Like people approach God just out of fear. Once there were two friends, school time friends, college time friends. They did both studied medical together. So both graduated and they were pakka atheists from their schooling, from their college. Pakka atheists, no believe in God. So many years passed by. This person, he became very nice doctor. He opened his own clinic, his own hospital, and he invited his other friends for the opening ceremony. अस्पताल का उद्घाटन है तो सबको बुलाया. Big program is going on, nice tent is there. So this one friend came, right, who was his college time friend, Langotia yaar. So this person, now when this whole program is going on one side there is some little puja going on. The other friend, he asked, hey, what is this going on? We thought we are atheists, pakka atheists, we don't believe in God. What is this puja and all that? So this friend replied, you know what? I have spent millions of dollars to open this hospital. Now, if there is some God, let him also be satisfied. Let him not cause any problem, any disturbances in my life. अगर भगवान है तो ठीक है, 15-20 ये क्या 100-200 रुपए लगा के थोड़ा पूजा भी कर लिया, क्या जाता है? So people think God is just something to be fearful of, scared of. God is something to bring just some morality. Otherwise, God does not exist. Now the second question comes. If God is there, I should be able to see God. So if God is there, why I cannot see God? So it means God does not exist because I am not able to see God. How many people ask this question? Oh, you believe in God? You go to temple? Have you ever seen God? Can you show me God? If you show me God, then I will believe in existence of God. People ask this question? Have you asked this question?
No, my daughters are asking.
Your daughters are asking this question, so today you can get the answer and tell them also. See, what is the fundamental mistake in asking this question? When we say, can you show me God? If God was there, I should be able to see God. So what is the fundamental mistake here? First of all, God is not our order carrier, order supplier. Right? It's not that I command, God, become visible in front of my eyes. If you become visible, then I believe in you. Otherwise, I don't believe in you. So God is not our order carrier. Just God is far beyond things. Just think about somebody of some big position in this society. If you have to meet the president of the country, prime minister of the country, can you just command, hey Modi, become visible in front of my eyes. If I can see you face to face, then I believe in you. Otherwise, I don't believe in you. So Mr. Modi, he is Prime Minister of India, he has a big position. If you call PM's office, Hey, I want to meet Modi. And the person will say, oh, who is this? And put the phone down. So to meet the Prime Minister or the President of the country, you cannot just meet like that. He is a big personality. And you think we can meet God just like that. Just say, God, I want to see you become visible in front of my eyes. So first of all, God is not our order supplier, order carrier. Second thing, do we have the qualification to see God? Do you have the eyes to see God? Right? To be able to see God, you need certain qualification. Just a very simple example, Prabhupada's logic. If your car breaks down on the street, on the highway, and you pop up the hood of the car and you start looking inside, there may be some smoke coming out, something is there, but you may not be able to figure out what is the problem inside. But if you call a qualified mechanic, the person will come, he will look under, and within a minute he will tell you, oh, this is the problem. This belt is broken, or this fuel level is too low, or something. That's why this car is not working. So we may not be able to see the problem, but a qualified person can tell you what is the problem. So same way, to be able to see God, do we have the qualification? Do we have the eyes to see God? Once one of Prabhupada's disciples, so Srila Prabhupada, basically whose teaching we are following, Srila Prabhupada, the founder of this movement, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So in the early days when Prabhupada was training a lot of new devotees, traveling the world, one devotee came to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, now I have been practicing for 6 months, but why I don't see Krishna? Why I don't see God? And Prabhupada, he pointed him to one verse in Bhagavad Gita, text 11.4. Prabhupada said, read this verse. What does this verse say? This is the verse spoken by Arjuna to Krishna. What does Arjuna say? My dear Lord, if you think I am able to behold your cosmic form, O Master of all mystic, then kindly show me your unlimited universal self. So what are the two things here? If you think I am able to see you, then kindly show me your unlimited form. So first of all, do we have the eyes to see Krishna? Do we have that qualification? And the second thing is not, you cannot order Krishna, show me, become visible in front of me. We have to request, please, with your mercy, make me eligible so that I can understand you, so that I can experience you. Not seeing something does not mean that thing does not exist, first of all. There are so many things we cannot see. Isn't it? Can you see the air? But you believe in air? Because you can perceive air, right? You can feel the presence of air. Once there was one student and professor, they were arguing, right? The professor asked this question, how many of you believe in existence of God? And this professor was an atheist professor, right? Too much inclination towards science, and then people become some little atheistic, science is everything, we don't believe in God. So this professor asked this question, how many of you believe in existence of God? And the one student raised the hand, I believe in God. The scientist asked, can you prove existence of God? Can you see Him? Can you feel Him? Can you touch Him? Can you smell Him? If you can feel, touch, smell, then you can believe. If we cannot prove something in the laboratory, we do not believe in that. Have you seen God? So I declare God does not exist. So the student, he told professor, my dear professor, I declare today you have no brain. The professor is surprised. How come you say I don't have any brain, I don't have any intelligence? Have you seen your brain? Student said, have you seen your brain? Professor, no. Then how do you know you have a brain? But I can feel, right? You can feel that I have some intelligence. So same way, the student said, you cannot see God, but you can feel the presence of God. So seeing does not mean God does not exist. But we are all very scientific people. We want a systematic scientific proof of existence of something. So how do we prove that God exists? Because otherwise people say, if God was there, why there will be so much suffering? Why there will be so many problems, injury, death, sickness, poverty, loneliness, depression, anxiety, violence, fear? Why this all evil exists in this world? So that is in itself one of the topic in our this 7-session series. We'll talk about this topic in much more detail later. But how do we prove the existence of God? Can we scientifically prove the existence of God or logically prove the existence of God? So let's look at certain things to understand, does God really exist? So first thing to understand, for everything in this world, for every urge in this world, there is fulfillment in the nature. That itself is the proof for existence of God. For every urge, there is fulfillment. You feel hungry? There is provision for food. You feel thirsty? There is water to quench your thirst. Even people have the urge to reciprocate with somebody, or to bow down in front of somebody, or to appreciate somebody. For that also there is provision provided. Right? Some people, they appreciate movie stars. They have their posters put on the walls. Some people appreciate some businessman, some sports people. So there is an urge for this kind of appreciation, and there is a provision for that. Some people even bow down to mountains, right? Just to nature. So there is an urge and there is a fulfillment for that urge in the nature. That itself is the proof for existence of God. The second proof, the creation employs a creator. Now this is interesting. Creation employs a creator. For anything which is created in this world, there has to be a creator. Somebody does a painting. So there is somebody who has done the painting. Let's say you see this painting. Everybody put this painting. I don't know why. Who is this? See, everybody knows also. Anybody knows the painter of this painting? Leonardo da Vinci. So there is a painting, and you ask somebody who made this painting. The person will tell, some such and such person painted this. But if you argue, no, there is no painter behind this painting, came all of a sudden from nowhere. Some of the paints mixed together on the canvases and this beautiful painting came up. You are a liar, you did not paint this. What will the person say? I worked so hard to make this painting, and you say this painting came all of a sudden? Can you paint anything? Anything can come out of all of a sudden from nowhere? Even if a child paints a simple flower, right? You ask the child, beta, who did this painting? The child will say, see, I did this painting. I painted this flower. Can somebody say, no, this flower came all of a sudden from nowhere. There is no artist behind this. So for anything in this world, anything we create, there is a creator behind that. You eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. Somebody's wife is not at home, they can feel the pain. Can you just think, I will put some dough there, some water there, some lentils there, some tomato and ginger and everything there, and everything will mix together in the morning. I will wake up, come to the kitchen, everything will be ready for me. All the dough and the water and lentils and everything will mix together, and nice dal chapati, dal roti will be there for me. Can anybody claim that? You know that I have to go mix the things together and prepare it properly. But surprisingly, for this whole world, whole this nature, whole this cosmic manifestation, people claim there is no creator behind this. Everything came all of a sudden from nowhere. Is that seem logical? See, just take a painting of a flower. The painting of flower had just some paints. Maybe a little bit texture is there. Right? If somebody is really creative, they can bring some texture also in that painting. And then you look at some plastic flowers. So one is flower painting. Then you get some plastic flowers, artificial flower. So in that artificial flower, you have colors also, you have texture also, you can touch it, you have some sensation there. But now look at the real flowers. The real flowers, it has the color also, it has the texture also, it has the smell, the fragrance also. So for this flower painting, you think, yes, there is somebody behind this who has painted this flower. For the plastic artificial flower also, you know, somebody has made this part plastic flower. But when it comes to the real flower, people think it came all of a sudden from nowhere, right? There's no creator behind this. It is everything happening. How? Automatically. That's a one very beautiful word, automatically. Everything is happening automatically. So, if for the paint flower, for the artificial plastic flower, there is a creator behind, for the real flowers also, there is a creator behind. And we call that creator as God. So for this whole cosmic manifestation, there is somebody behind who has created that. But sad, people say everything came all of a sudden from nowhere. All of a sudden there was a big bang. Some chemicals mixed together, some gases mixed together. And all of a sudden this whole cosmic manifestation, all these different planets and galaxies and stars, everything came up from nowhere. Now, does that theory seems logical to anybody? That there was a big bang and all of a sudden from big bang everything came out from nowhere.
Someone has to bang.
For the bang also, Professor, somebody has to bang it. Right? Somebody has to be there to create that bang. For example, when you hear about some bomb blast happened, some news come on the TV, or there was a big bomb blast. What is the first question? Who did that blast? Does anybody say, oh, automatically blast ho gaya kahin se? Who blasted that? Some terrorist. Which terrorist organization? Which terrorist organization is taking that blame, taking that claim? Yes, we did this blast. So first of all, somebody for that bang also, somebody has to be there. Now, when the bang happens, when some blast happens, does it lead to construction or destruction? Destruction. Anybody heard? There was a big bomb blast and a new city came up. What do we say? The whole city disappears, right? Whole city destructed. But anywhere we have heard, there was a big blast and a new city came up. If that was the case, there is no need of all these building companies, construction companies. We should open a big blast or small bang company, right? Little bang here, little bang there, and this big apartment complex and the building complex came up. Bro, you need a new apartment, new home? Let's approach a small bang company. Blast and a new house kind of came up. Anybody heard? Out of blast, some constructive thing came up. When we heard about some blast, there is always destruction. But sadly, the science promotes that all this cosmic manifestation, everything came from nowhere out of a big blast, big bang. The gases mixed together. And how the life started, some aminos, some proteins mixed together and a life came up. first species of life came up, and then slowly it evolved and transformed into different species of life. Earlier it was monkey, and then the monkey transformed into, evolved into human beings. So theory of evolution. So there are many scientists actually who believe in existence of God. Like Einstein, Newton. They were believers in existence of God. Newton's and Einstein's statement is, if somebody look very carefully in this nature, one will be forced to believe in existence of God. If you look so carefully in this nature, how all these things are happening so wonderfully, one will be forced to believe in existence of God. Once Newton, he was doing some experiment in his lab, and he had another colleague, a mathematician, who was atheist. And he will argue always. There is no God. Everything came from nowhere all of a sudden. And this Newton, he thought, I have to kind of teach him a lesson. So one day Newton was in his lab, and this professor, the other scientist, came to meet him. And there was one very nice working model of the universe on the table. And this professor, the other scientist, asked, wait, who created this, such a nice working model of the universe? And Newton, are you kidding me? Who can create this? This came all of a sudden. One day I came in my lab and I saw this model was there. Maybe in the night some chemicals, some gases mixed together, and this model of this universe came from nowhere. And this professor, why are you joking with me? Please tell me who created this model. And Newton said, you consider that this whole cosmic manifestation came from nowhere by just mixing of some gases, and you think there for this working model of the universe there has to be a creator behind this? How absurd is that? If you think there is somebody behind creating this universe model, there has to be somebody behind this actual universe also, actual cosmic manifestation also. For everything there is a creator behind. If you ask somebody, from where did this watch come? Right? If somebody is wearing a watch, you ask somebody, from where did this watch come? Who made this watch?
The company.
The company. Which company?
God.
So whichever company who owns this watch, they created this watch. Can I tell you? Can I tell you something? That is a lie. No company made this watch. You know what? One day I was strolling around the beach and I found a watch. With the rubbing of the waves on the ocean, on the beach, all of a sudden this watch came up. Is that logical? So for anything, there has to be a creator behind this. So creation implies a creator. Just consider a satellite. Right? We create satellites, we send the scientists send the satellites into the orbit. It's circling around there, around the planet, sending pictures from there, sending data from there. Now, somebody has to create the satellite, right? Somebody created that satellite, somebody put it into the orbit, into the space. Now, after sending it into the space also, people are sitting 24 hours round the clock in the control room, observing this satellite, monitoring the satellite, watching this and collecting all that data. Just after sending it into the orbit also, there has to be continuous monitoring. And the whole universe with so many planets, they are perfectly working in their system, going about different planets. Earth is going about the sun in a perfect speed and perfect orbit. There has to be somebody who has created this system and who is monitoring this. Can we just claim, oh, everything is just happening automatically? Now we have sent the satellite, it's working automatically. Still, yes, it is working automatically, but somebody has put that automatic system. Somebody is still controlling this and still monitoring this. And how about, what do you see here? Sun and the earth. What is the mass of the earth, you know? It's there on the screen actually. If you know the calculation, if you can tell me what that number is. 6 into 10 to power 21 metric tons. That is the weight of Earth. And what is the speed of Earth? 106,000 kilometers per hour. Going around, circling around the sun. And it's circling around itself, its own axis also. Now, this Earth is going about the sun with that much speed, that heavy ball, staying in its orbit, and we think everything is happening automatically. Just imagine, so such a heavy ball, somebody has to throw that ball at that heavy speed, and it's still going on. How many of you are cricket followers, cricket fans? So you may relate to that example now. You know, in the cricket, somebody throws the ball and somebody hits the ball. So in the cricket, somebody is throwing a ball, fast bowler. What is the maximum speed somebody you have seen? The fastest bowler in the world. What is the speed? In what range?
155,
155, 160. Let's say 200 kilometers per hour. Right? That speed. For that also, somebody has to run from that long and come and throw that ball. And after he has thrown that ball, now he has to throw it again. He has to again take that ball, again run it and again throw it. So for that small ball to throw it at 150, 200 kilometers per hour, he has to work so hard and continuously keep doing it, keep throwing it. Now just imagine this Earth, somebody has put into that orbit, going in that speed, in that orbit. Once somebody has put it in that speed, it's continuously going on and on and on, no break. And we think it's from nowhere. It's just happening automatically. So there is a creator behind who has created everything and who is maintaining everything. So, second, the third proof of existence of God. The law employ a lawmaker. So first one was for every urge in the nature, there is a fulfillment. That is the first proof of existence of God. Second is, for every creation, there is a creator behind. And third one, the laws employ a lawmaker. We see in this universe, there are so many laws, so many things are working perfectly. Right? This whole nature, the sun comes up in the morning, always in the east direction, goes around, sets in the west. So there is a perfect system. Always in the east, sets always in the west. Just imagine one day, sun thought, I will change my law now. Today I'm not going to get up from the east, right? Rise up from the east. Today I have decided I will rise from the south. So I rose from the east yesterday, I sat in the west, now I'm tired. Tomorrow I will rise up in the west and go to the east. No, everything is working very perfectly in this nature. There are seasons going on. There is summer, winter, day, night. Sun from east to west. Everything is working perfectly in the system, in the nature. So for every law, there has to be a lawmaker behind. Or we see the rain happens automatically. The water evaporates, it becomes the cloud, and when the condensation happens, then rainfall happens. It's automatic process. So yes, there is an automatic process also there, but automatic does not prove absence of God. So who has created that automatic process? There has to be somebody who has created that automatic process. So the creation employs creator, laws employ a lawmaker. So just this nature, and then just take the example of these trains. Right? There are train tracks and the train coming from different directions. So there is a train coming from Delhi to Bombay, and there is a train coming from some other city to Bombay. So there are so many trains which are arriving at one particular station. And all these trains are perfectly running into their track. When another train is coming from opposite direction, there is a switch of track so the other train can pass. So there is a perfect system there, even though it may appear it's working automatically, but there is a perfect system there. Somebody is controlling that. Somebody on the train station, there is a train master who is showing the flag, the track is clear, let this train come now. But if there is another train coming, so both trains does not collide, he will say, okay, make this train stop there, let the other train pass by. So even though we may not see all these things happening in the forefront, but these are things happening in the background. So somebody is controlling this. Somebody has put together this system. And this is perfectly going on. So the law employ a lawmaker. Just consider the example of this red light signals. Right? We know this red light, red, yellow, green, these lights are going on automatically. So you all drove from your places to come to here today to the program. You met some red lights. I mean, you have to cross some lights. And those lights were working perfectly, right? If there is no light working at the intersection, what will happen? The cars coming from this side, car from other side, then there is a clash. But these lights are working perfectly in a systematic way. But if you just consider, oh, today morning I got up, I went into my car, sat into my car and drove the car, I saw this red light signal. And this red light signal came from nowhere, all of a sudden from somewhere it came, and this red light signal perfectly working fine. For a child, it may appear as a magic happening, but for a grown-up person, for an intelligent person, he knows that somebody has created that system. Somebody has put together that red light system and it's working finally. Somebody is controlling this. Right? Somebody is controlling and monitoring those traffic light signals. So same way, everything in this material nature is working perfectly, working in a perfect order, and somebody is controlling this. So there are so many laws are there in this nature. There is law of gravity. There is law of thermodynamics, there is law of fluid. All these laws are there. Somebody has created those laws. Now Newton discovered, we said Newton discovered this law of gravity. So once Newton was sitting in his college and university, at Cambridge University from where he studied. So he was sitting under a tree. And as he was resting there, one apple fell down. So Newton saw this apple falling down and he started observing, started thinking, why did this apple fell down? Why this apple did not go up? Why it fell down only? So as he started observing this, he come up with this principle of law of gravity. There is some force which is pulling the object down. Right? If you have something in the sky, it will come down. So there is law of gravity. So did Newton create the law of gravity? What did he do? He explained what was already happening in this nature. So it's not that somebody has created these laws, some scientist has created these laws. These laws were already there in the nature. Somebody has just observed those and explained it to others. But somebody has created those laws. And who has created those laws? That is God. So all these laws are working perfectly in the nature. So there is, for behind these all the laws in this nature, there is a lawmaker. All these planets going perfectly in their orbit. Now consider this artificial intelligence. Right? Today is the technique, all the technology, the day of artificial intelligence. I mean, some of you also may be working on artificial intelligence. So what is artificial intelligence? When we call artificial intelligence, what does it mean?
Yeah, machines make decisions.
So machines making decisions. Behind basis of what? On basis of what?
On basis of behavior, basis of data collection. That they have.
Basis of data collection. There is so much of data which has been fed into that.
Right.
Okay, this particular thing in this particular circumstances it happened like this. Now, if in future all these circumstances satisfied, then this thing should come, right? So based on that, it makes decisions. So much of the data has been fed into the system over a period of time, over a period of years. So much of data has been collected for the machine to make a decision on your behalf. So that is artificial intelligence. But who has created all the data? Over a period of time, somehow this data has been created. Now just consider the most sophisticated computer in the universe. Can you name what is the most sophisticated computer in the universe? The human mind, the human brain. So that is the most sophisticated computer. And the human brain can store more information than all the libraries in the world. Do you know that? In one library, there may be so many books, so much of data is there in that. The human brain can store more knowledge, more information than all the libraries of the world. So that is a sophisticated computer. So we talk about artificial intelligence, but who created the real intelligence? Somebody has to be there. We create artificial intelligence by feeding in all that system, that information, that data into the machine, into the computers. But who created this real intelligence? There has to be a creator behind. So with all these logics, one maybe come to the conclusion, yes, okay, maybe I believe in God. Yes, maybe there is God there. But how do I understand God? What does God really look like? So when we say I believe in God, but I want to understand who is God, what does God look like? So when you ask somebody who is God, up to the point, yes, there is God, maybe people will say, yes, we believe in God. But then you ask the next question, who is God? यहाँ पर सब लोग झोल झाल कर जाते. People will give different answer. Oh, God is just some energy. Oh, this Baba is God, this Devi is God, that Devata is God, you are God, I am God, everybody is God. God has no form, He is just some light, He is some energy. Somebody says, yes, God has a form, there are so many gods. So when we come to this point, who is God? What does God really look like? Who can be considered a God? Then people will come up with their different logics, different explanations. God is light, energy, some imageless. So God is Saguna or Nirguna. These are the two words used. God is Saguna. Saguna means with the qualities, with the form. Nirguna means one who does not possess the qualities. And people confuse between Saguna and Nirguna. Nirguna does not mean actually God does not have a form. Nirguna means God does not possess the material qualities. The qualities of this material nature, influenced by the modes of nature, the goodness, passion and ignorance. So what is God like? So Srimad Bhagavatam explained the tattva of God. What is God? So Vedanta tattvasvidha tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti pramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdyate. So people who are the knowers of the seer, they have concluded that God can be realized in three different aspects. And what are these aspects? Brahmeti pramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdyate. He can be realized in three aspects. Brahman, he is the effulgence, the source of all the effulgence. And he can be understood in the form of Paramatma as a localized feature in the heart of everybody, present everywhere is Paramatma feature. And then the third aspect, the topmost aspect of God is Bhagavan, in his real Savrupa, residing in his spiritual world. So Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan iti shabdyate. God can be realized in these three aspects. So how do we understand that? What are these three different aspects? And these three aspects exist simultaneously. It's not that at one point of time God is just some energy, just some light, and at a particular time when he appears in this world, he assumes some form. So it's not like that. God has a form which is eternal form. He always there in his eternal Savrupa. See, for the light, for the Brahman feature, the light emanating from the Lord, all of we can relate to that. Everybody has a aura, some hue emanating from our bodies. How many of you know that factor or believe in that fact? Yes, everybody, all of us emit some light. सबका aura है. Somebody has a small aura, somebody has big aura. Some great sages who have done lot of austerity, lot of tapasya, they have a bigger aura. People can feel the light around them. Right? People say sometimes, अरे उनके इर्द गिर्द मैंने एक प्रकाश का गोला देखा. So what is that? That is aura. So all of us have an aura. Our aura is very small, maybe extending up to few inches only, or few millimeters. And because of that aura, when somebody enters into that zone, you immediately can feel the presence of somebody else. Have you observed that? Have you realized that? That is because of your aura. For example, if you are sitting with closed eyes and somebody comes closer to you and put a hand in front of your face, you all of a sudden open your eyes because you have felt the presence of somebody. Why is that? Because somebody has entered into that zone of your aura. Somebody has not physically touched you, just in front of you somebody come and stood there, and you open your eyes immediately, realizing the presence of somebody in that locality. Another example I will give you to understand the aura principle. When you are sleeping, while you are in sleep, your child is sleeping in a different room, you are in a deep sleep, your child comes up, he wakes up at the night, he comes to you and standing next to you around your bed. And all of a sudden you open your eyes, feeling somebody's presence. Has this happened to everybody? Anybody? Why is that? That is because somebody entered into that zone of your aura. So that is, everybody has an aura. Somebody's aura is small, somebody's aura is big. More you become spiritualized, your aura increases. We did this experiment actually once. Feeling somebody else's presence while you are sitting there with closed eyes. You can do that experiment. I will leave it for later. So the point I am conveying is the three aspects are simultaneously existing. Everybody has an aura, everybody has a light emanating from them. So the Brahman aspect is the light emanating from the spiritual body of the Lord. And that aura is so big that the whole universe, all the material universes and spiritual universes are filled with that aura, filled with that light, which people refer to as Jyoti. कि भगवान सिर्फ प्रकाश है, भगवान सिर्फ कुछ light है. Now to understand that, I will give one example how to understand these three aspects. Once in a village, so in that village there was no railway line, there was no train coming to that village. So a new railway minister came and he declared, I'm going to put the railway tracks everywhere. All nooks and corners, all towns and cities and villages, everywhere there will be railway line. So one village, there is a railway line put up to that village, announced first time, tomorrow the rail is coming, the train is coming to that village for the first time. So the station is little away from the village, little outside, outskirts, and they have never seen the train. The villagers have never seen the train. They are very excited, they want to see the train. And some of the people, they thought if all of us go to see the train, then who will work in the field? So we all cannot go, let's send some people who can go to that train station and see how the train looks like. And let them come back and explain to everybody else in the village. So 3 people were appointed. You 3 go see how this train looks like, and then come back and explain to everybody. So these three people went. Now train is going to come next day morning. These three people went at the night. One person was very impatient. I cannot stand here and wait for the train to come. So he started running from which direction the train was supposed to come. So he started running in that direction. So he's running in that direction, and from the other side train is coming. He saw the train coming from far away. And when the train is coming from far away, what do you see? A big light in the front, right? The headlight of the train. And when the train is coming from that far, all you see is big light. Nothing else. So this person, as soon as he saw this big circle of light coming from far away, he said, understood. This train is a big circle of light. Ran back to the village and told everybody, I have figured out what this train looks like. This train is a big light. The second person, he was little more patient. He was standing there waiting for the train to come. The train started to approach to the train station, coming closer, closer. This person saw this train coming. So he saw this big circle of light coming. It came further closer. Behind that light, there was a big engine. So he saw the engine behind that light. And he said, oh, train means there is a big light in the front, and behind the light there is a big engine. He also ran back to the village and told the villagers, I have understood what is train. Train is a big light, and there is a big engine behind that, which is making this train run. Third person was a little more patient. So he saw this light coming, came closer. He saw this big engine coming, came further closer. Behind the engine there were other bogies. So train finally came on the station, stopped there. This person went inside one of the bogie, and he saw there is benches there to sit, there are fans, there is light, there are people sitting inside, there is everything there. So he came back and explained to the villagers, this is what train looks like. There is a big light, the headlight in the front, behind there is a big engine, and behind that there are many other train compartments. There are so many different things. People are sitting inside that. Now all these three people, they explained about the same train, but they gave different understanding. So who is correct and who is not correct here? Who is wrong?
The impatient people.
But is he wrong? All three of them are correct, but their understanding is limited. Their understanding is incomplete. We can say incomplete. So the first person who said, oh, train is just like a big engine, big light only, he was also correct. Yes, there is a light. But his understanding is incomplete. The second person also said the correct thing, but his understanding is incomplete. The third person who explained everything detail, his understanding is complete. Same way, God has three aspects. He has energy, he is light. Yes, that is also true. But God is not just light. Light is emanating from his body. That's the hue emanating from the body of the Lord. He has his personal form also. He has his spiritual world also where God lives. And inside, he has his spiritual form, spiritual body, and there are so many associates, people who are living with God. Another example to understand is the sun globe. Right? You see the sun every day. So we see the sun rays. Sun has sun rays. Sun has sun globe. And inside the sun there is somebody living, which we call as sun god. Vivaswan. He has name also. So somebody may think sun only as sun rays. All we have seen is sun rays entering into our room, entering through the windows, the rays of the sun enter. Somebody may think, oh, sun means sun rays. But as the person goes more and more closer, he can see the sun globe, sun surface. And as he enter inside that globe, he can meet this personality, sun god Vivaswan. So as the sun has these three aspects, sun ray, the sun surface, and the personality. So same way God has three aspects. The impersonal Brahman, which is Jyoti, Prakash, energy emanating from the Lord. Then the spiritual planet, and then the God, living in the spiritual world who has his form. So God is all three. He is Saguna, Nirguna, He is combination of everything. And we should understand the complete understanding of God. So God is, how we understand, how can we define God? Okay, now I understand, yes, God does exist. God has these three aspects, but how do I define God? How can we define God? For everything there is a definition. How do you define water? It's liquid. It quenches the thirst. It's flowing or whatever. So you can define everything with certain characteristics. Right? What is definition of God? How do we define God? So definition of God, first point, He is the cause of all causes. He is the supreme cause behind all causes. Because in the first session we said we have to go to the root. So we are coming to that point now. Who is the root of everything? Who is the cause of all causes? So God is the cause of all causes. It's not that we all came from monkeys. First it was one species of life, and then they transformed, slowly evolved over the period of time and transformed into different species. Right? That's how they say how human beings came from monkeys. Once a child asked the father, Papa, from where did we come? And father said, Beta, we all came from monkeys. Our ancestors were monkeys. The child went to mother. Mummy, from where did we come? Mother said, Beta, we all came from God. God has created us. Our ancestors were also human beings. We are also human beings. And the child said, I'm confused. See, Papa is saying we all came from monkeys. You are saying we all came from God. Who is correct? Mother said, both are correct. Your father's side, they came from monkeys. My side came from God. See, people have so much of hodgepodge of theories here. No clear conception. Who is our creator? From where did we come? There is so much of confusion because of this thing, this theory and that theory. So who is the cause of all causes? God is creator of everybody. He is the cause of everything. It's not that over a period of time we evolved from monkeys. Now how come some of the monkeys jumped from branches to benches and some monkeys are still hanging on the branches? Right? उनका क्या कसूर था बेचारों का? वो monkey अभी के अभी monkey रह गए वो. So if one species transformed into another, why the other species still exist? So all species of life, they were all created by God. It's not that earlier it was aquatic, from aquatic it came from the land creature, and from the land creature it slowly evolved into human beings. And today we consider we are the most civilized human beings. Are we most civilized actually these days, or people are becoming more uncivilized these days? People are becoming more uncivilized actually. No values, no moral principles. And people think somehow we have become more civilized because we have technology. Now we have so much technology. Once one young boy, he asked his grandfather. See, now in our day and time, there's so much technology. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have YouTube, we have laptops and iPhones and everything. At your time, what was there? What was the life that time? आपके समय पर life कैसा था? And the grandfather also replied, तुम्हारे जमाने में ना तो पूजा है, ना अर्चना है, ना वंदना है, ना morality है, ना कुछ और है. तुम्हारी life कैसी है? What is this kind of life here? So some of people think we have become more civilized. Actually, people are going away from civilization. But the point here is the cause of all causes. Somebody who is behind everything, who has created everything, who is maintaining everything, who is controlling everything. He is God. He is the cause of all causes. The second definition of God, the second characteristic is He is the supreme controller. He is controlling everything. ऐसा नहीं है कि एक बार बना दिया और उसको छोड़ दिया. Now everything is just on its own. Yes, there is automatic principle there. Automatic does not mean absence of somebody, absence of creator. So He is the supreme controller. He is controlling everything and everybody. As we say, भगवान की इच्छा के बिना एक पत्ता भी नहीं हिलता. Right? Not a single leaf even moves without the will of God. So He is the supreme controller. Then the next point, He is the sole proprietor. He is the proprietor of everything. See, somebody who has created something must be the proprietor of that object. If you make a painting, you put a name under that painting. Right? Somebody makes a painting, he puts a name under the painting. See, I created this painting. He thinks I am the proprietor of this. So God has created everything. He is the proprietor of everything. Once one person wanted to understand who is the richest person in the country. Just giving the example from India, maybe people can relate. Most of you are from India. So somebody wanted to find out who is the richest, wealthiest person in the country. So he started going to see who owns maximum buildings, maximum property. So he was going around the city, and at the end of the day he came back. He said, I know who is the richest person in this city. Okay, so who is the richest person in the city? He said, there is somebody known as Mr. Toolet. He is the richest person. Because he saw many boards outside, many buildings say Toolet, 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 Toolet. Yeah, Mr. Toolet is the richest person in the city. Who is this Mr. Toolet? If somebody, some building on rent, they put the board outside, Toolet. Right? This building is on rent. This person is the richest person, Toolet. So we think in this world, who controls, who owns the maximum property is the richest person. So somebody who controls everything, who has created everything in this world, is the richest person. So God is the controller and proprietor of everything, and then supreme enjoyer. If somebody has created something, somebody owns that thing, he must be the supreme enjoyer. For example, if somebody owns a hotel, whatever collection comes in the hotel, he is the enjoyer of that wealth. He is the enjoyer of all that property. Somebody may be working at the front desk as a cashier, as a receptionist. Throughout the day, he is sitting, standing there, working hard. Some people come, they eat food there. Some people come, book a room there, and they make the payment. This person standing at the front desk is collecting all that payment at the end of the day. One person suited, booted in a nice big car, he comes outside the hotel. He comes to the reception and tells the person, now hand me over everything, give me all the collection. Not on the gunpoint, but he just says, okay, give me everything, because he is the owner of that hotel. So he takes all that collection and goes. So who is the enjoyer? The person who is the owner of that property. The person may be sitting there, standing there, working all day. He will get, yes, his share, his salary. But the supreme enjoyer of all that wealth is one who owns that. So same way, the supreme enjoyer is somebody who has created everything, who is maintaining everything, who is controlling everything. So God is also the supreme enjoyer. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the supreme enjoyer of everything. So each point which I have given, the definition of God, He is the cause of all causes. He is the supreme proprietor. He is the supreme controller. He is the supreme enjoyer. Krishna claims himself to be all that. So God is all of these. He can be defined with all these characteristics. And if we want to understand God, who best can explain about God than God himself? Isn't it? If you have any device, if you have a watch or a laptop or a car, and if you want to learn about that instrument, that gadget, who can explain better about that gadget? The manufacturer who has created that, right? With every device comes a manual. And the manual explains, this is how this thing is functioning, or this is how you need to set up, this is how this should function. If it is not functioning properly, you need to do these settings. And then it will work. And if you have a problem, bring it to the person, a proper authorized dealer, right? Authorized service center who can tell you what is the problem, how to fix this. So for a small device, somebody who has created that device can tell about that device. So same way, if we want to know about this world, who can tell us better? Somebody who has created this. We can try our experiment to understand this world. Our understanding will always be limited. For example, somebody has created a Toyota car, and there is another company who has created a GM car. Now the GM want to understand about Toyota car. They can understand, isn't it? They can also try to understand. How? Rip apart everything, tear down, try to figure out, oh, let me see how they created this car, what are the different things in this car, we want to do benchmarking. So we do that. We can try to understand somebody else's creation, but is that a painful process or a very easy process, straightforward process? Is it very cheap process or a very expensive process? Time consuming and expensive. Both. But this is what science is trying to do. They are trying to understand this world, how this world came into existence, how different things are functioning in this world. Is this time consuming? So much experiment going on for years and years and years, and so much of billions and billions of dollars spent in that. Ultimately, what is the conclusion? Still no understanding. We think we have gone into the space, we have gone to the moon, we have gone to the Mars, now maybe trying to go to different other planet, Pluto or something. But that understanding remains limited. Earlier, once they went on moon, why they are not trying to go on moon anymore? Why trying to explore other planet? Why they are not settling people on moon now? There is so much population on Earth, let's send some people to moon, let them stay there. Why not? Because there is no facility. They cannot send people to the moon. So this understanding through science is very painful process if we want to understand about this creation, if we want to understand about the creator. Who can explain? Somebody who has created. So the scriptures, there is so much information there about this material nature, about this whole creation, about this whole universe, and about God himself. Because the person himself can explain more about yourself, right? So he is the supreme enjoyer and he is omnipresent. Another characteristic of God is he is omnipresent. What is the meaning of omnipresent? He is present everywhere. Yato yato yami tato narsimha. We sing that prayer. I see here, I see there, everywhere, God is there. So God is present everywhere. Can we be present everywhere? You are sitting in this room. At the same time, simultaneously, you cannot be present at another place. Technology has made little progress. With the technology, you can be present at other place also. So now this Facebook Live is going on. So at the same time, I'm present at many different places. Right? Whoever is watching. So that is multi-presence. But can we claim I'm omnipresent? I'm present everywhere. You can talk to everybody face to face. You can... God is omnipresent. Somebody in India calling God, God, please help me. Somebody calling in America in problem, somebody calling, God, please help me. They know God is there. God is going to help me. If God was in India, how will he help the person in America? If God is in America, how he will help the person in India? But God is omnipresent. The moment you call out to the God, he is there to help. People have that faith. Yes, God is there. He will listen to me. He is going to come for my help in one way or other. So God is omnipresent. So these are the different characteristics of God. And beyond that, in the scripture, it explains, if somebody we want to consider as God, now question come, who is God? Right? We understood, okay, God means somebody who possesses these qualities. But then the question comes, who is God? I think this person is God, I think that person is God. As soon as you think of God, a different image comes in mind for everybody. Everybody may be thinking, painting a different picture. Once one person was sitting, lotus pose, meditating, and he was calling out, Hey Ma, Hey Ma. So there was a cartoon, right? Cartoon posted like that. One person sitting, meditating, calling out, Hey Ma, and from his mind there is a bubble shown, and in that there is a picture of Durga. Because he is meditating, Hey Ma, so he is thinking about Durga. There is another person sitting next to him. He is also sitting in lotus pose. He is also thinking. He is also calling out, Hey Ma. There is a bubble coming out of his mind shown. And in that there is a picture of some beautiful woman, some beautiful actress or something. So both are calling Hey Ma. But it's a different conception, different thinking. The same way somebody may be calling out God. Somebody may be thinking, as soon as we say word God, a different image comes in mind. Somebody may be thinking, oh, God means this person or that person or this Baba or this Devi or this Amma or somebody. But who is God? Who can be considered God? So the scripture give this definition of God. This is coming from Vishnu Puran, composed by Prashar Muni. Prashar Muni is the father of Veda Vyas, who wrote this verse which define who is God, who can be considered God. It's Aishwarasya Samagrasya Viryasya Yashasah Shriya Jnanam Vairagyascheva Shannam Bhaga Nitangana. One who possesses these 6 qualities in full. Okay, mind this word. One who possesses these 6 qualities in full, he can be considered God. What are these qualities? Aishwarasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashasah, Shriya, Jnanam, Vairagyascheva. Aishwarya. Let's take these qualities one by one. So another 10 minutes and we'll conclude today's session here. So Aishwarya, not Aishwarya Rai. Aishwarya means opulence. Somebody who possesses all the opulence of this world, he can be considered as God. To the fullest extent. There may be many people in the world who has some wealth. We all possess some wealth. Somebody has $1,000, somebody has 10,000, somebody has 100,000, somebody may have $1 million. So we possess some wealth, but nobody can claim, I possess all the wealth of this world. Somebody may say, I have a big mansion, I have many luxurious cars. Somebody may claim, I own an island. But nobody can claim, I own the whole city, I own the whole state, I own the whole country. Even the president of the country, prime minister of the country cannot claim, oh, this is my property. So somebody who possesses everything of this world, who is the supreme, what is that? Proprietor. Right? Who owns everything, he can be considered as God. Aishwarya. Now then Viryasya. Virya, strength. Somebody who is strongest person in the whole world can be considered as God. So we all possess some strength. Right? Everybody has some strength. You can hold this phone, you can lift this phone, you can move this table chair, you can do some things. So everybody has some strength. But nobody can claim, I am the strongest. Even if somebody tried to claim I am the strongest, he had to meet his destiny at one point of time. So there was somebody who claimed, I am the greatest. Anybody knows?
One boxer.
There was one boxer. Who was that? Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali made this statement once, I am the greatest, I am the strongest. He will knock down the other opponent in one punch. But later stage in his life, he developed a Parkinson's disease. And he was not able to lift his finger also, just a finger. And he came to his senses. I am not the strongest. I am not the greatest. God is great. So somebody who is the strongest, that can be considered God. Yasha, who is the most famous. All of us have some fame. Some people know us. Somebody may know, only family member know, some neighbors may know. Some people in the world, in the society, some colleagues, some people know us. So we have little fame. Anybody in the world can claim, I am the most famous person. See, even the richest person of the world, this Hollywood, Bollywood star, some sports person, some neta, abhineta, some politician, they may be famous for some time. But their fame does not stay forever. So nobody can claim, I am the most famous for all the times to come. But somebody who is famous for all the time, who is the most famous person, he is God. Then Shreya, beauty. Can anybody claim, I am the most beautiful person in the whole wide universe? There is nobody more beautiful, more handsome than me for all the times to come. Again, beauty, everybody has some beauty. Somebody is more, somebody is less. But nobody can claim, I am the most beautiful for all the time to come. Somebody may be very beautiful, some Bollywood, Hollywood actresses. They may be Miss Universe, Miss World. But ultimately, their beauty also doesn't last long. There was one very famous model. Big fan following. People will be crazy to have one audience of her, to look at her, one glance. And as she grew little older, saw the first wrinkle on her face, she was so depressed, could not come out of the house, could not come out of the room. What if my fans see this face, dwindling face, my wrinkled face? What will happen? What will happen to my fan following? So nobody in this world can be beautiful always for all the times to come. But God is the most beautiful. And His beauty does not dwindle like our beauty. Nitya navi navaimana. Right? Nava yovanam cha. His beauty is, He is always a youthful, fresh. Then jnana, knowledge. He is the most knowledgeable person. We also have some knowledge, but our knowledge is very limited. And somebody who can be considered as most knowledgeable, who knows about everything, who can be that? He is God. And then Vairagya, even after having all these qualities, he does not attach with anything. He is completely renounced from everything. God has created this world and He has given us access in this world, and He has given us the free will. We are able to move about with our free will. We are able to do certain things. So He is completely renounced. Just imagine you create something, you will become so attached to that. If you made some nice painting, you will become so attached. Oh, hopefully nobody put any scratch on that. Nobody put any scar on that. You make one some toy, you will be so careful. It does not break. Nobody spoils this one. So we create something, we get attached to that. God, He has created everything, but He is completely renounced. Vairagya. So somebody who possesses all these qualities, that can be considered as God. He is God. Now, when we want to really understand who is God, are there many gods? Is there one God? And who that one God is? Is there polytheism or monotheism? That's another big question come. Is there a separate God for Hindus? Is there a separate God for Christians or Muslims or Jains or anything? Is there many different gods? No, right? There is one God. Everybody come to that conclusion. No, there is one God. It's not that there are all different gods there and they are sitting in the sky and fighting with each other, or this person is my person, this person is your person, I control this person, you control that person. So there is one God who is the controller of everything, and who that one God is. Is there many gods? Polytheism, like in our Hinduism also, we say there are many gods. Right? There are 33 koti Devi Devata. So mind the word also. There is one word which is referred as Bhagavan. There is another word which is referred as Devi Devata. And there is a difference in those two. Bhagwan and Devi Devata. The same way in other cultures also. Christianity and Islam and others also. There is a concept of angel beings. Anybody may have heard that, right? They say angel beings. So they say God is one, but they will also refer to angels. What is that? Same way, Bhagwan and Devi Devatas. Somebody which is given some special powers, special administrative powers. So we will discuss what is the difference in Bhagwan and Devi Devata. Is there polytheism or monotheism? And who is that one God? And please be very open-minded to understand this. Otherwise, you understand, you listen everything. At home, you go back again holding on to your same other older conditioning. No, I believe this one. No, I believe this one only. My understanding is this one only. So we have to understand systematically through the eyes of scripture. That's why I said, who can explain more? Somebody who has created. Who can explain himself? So who can explain about God? God himself. And the scriptures are the words of God. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagvat pranitam. Dharma means the instructions given by God. So if we really want to understand that, we have to understand from God himself. So we'll stop here, and in next session we will discuss who that God is. So today's session was to come to that understanding with logic and scientific understanding, to understand, yes, God does exist. And what are the qualities, characteristics of God. So in the next session we'll move forward. If anybody has any question for what we discussed today. Definition of God? Do you have a question about that?
Yes.
What is your question? So what is the definition of God? Definition of God is, anybody want to answer? What is the definition of God? Who is the supreme creator? He is the supreme controller. He is the supreme enjoyer. He is the supreme proprietor. And he is omnipresent. Right? He is omnipresent. That is definition of God. Any other question? Yes.
God is the supreme creator and he is a lawmaker. Why there is some flaws in human creation, some imperfections in his creation also.
In whose creation?
God only created human beings
Huh.
and other things. So why there is issues, problems in human life.
Huh.
Even if with respect to nature, Dwaraga, now it submerged into water.
Huh.
Why there are some are
Okay. So the question is, if God has created everything, why there are flaws? So flaws are not in God's creation. Flaws are in our understanding. Flaws are created by human beings. So parents have created a child. Understand from that point of view. Parents have created a child. Child should behave perfectly. Right? Child makes mistake. Why? Why your child is making mistake?
you can ask parents.
The child is acting as per his free will, based on his independence. Same way God has created a perfect creation. There is a perfect system there. It's the people, the human being, who are messing up with everything. The problem in this world is caused by humans, no other species of life. There was one statement, it says, if the human race is made extinct, everybody can live very peacefully. All other species of life can live peacefully. So if this one species of life, human beings, if you erase the humans from the face of earth, everybody else will be very happy.
Yeah, we
So
can
problem,
we can experience during the lockdown, Ganga Nadi was
right? Because we have polluted the rivers, we have polluted the oceans, we have polluted the sky, the air. Problem is caused by the person who are living in this creation, and why God is giving them the freedom. So we are going to discuss about that topic also, which is the 5th day topic. Why do bad things happen to good people? Right, the concept of karma. So during that we'll discuss about this particular topic also. But it's a very good question. So that's the problem, is we think there is a flaw in God's creation. You want to hear a story?
Yeah, please.
Okay, let me tell you one very beautiful story. Once there was one person, he thought, there is no God. I'm going to prove that God does not exist. And even if the God is there, He has not made this creation nicely. There are so many flaws in the creation of God. And I'm going to prove that. He had one secretary also. Let's go on a walk. I will tell you, you keep making notes. We'll write down what are the different mistakes we find out in this creation. And then we are going to publish a book. But everybody should understand there are so many problems. God does not know how to create. This person was going. He saw there was one creeper. The creeper is just spreading around on the wall of around the ground in front of the house. And on that creeper, there was a big pumpkin. And this person says, see, write down, mistake number 1. Such a delicate creeper, and on that creeper such a big fruit. See, God does not know how to create. Delicate creeper, delicate fruit. He should have created nicely. This big fruit should be on a big tree. So problem number 1. Moved ahead. Came in the nice garden area, big trees, nice wind blowing. So he said, let's take some rest. And before taking rest, he said, see, mistake number 2. Such a big tree and such a tiny fruits on this tree. Big tree means big fruits. Mistake number 2. Write down. So now let's take some rest before we move forward. So he's sat down under the tree. Nice wind blowing. He went into sleep. All of a sudden he woke up. One berry fell onto his head. And all of a sudden he woke up. And he realized, oh my God. If there was a big pumpkin on the tree and this pumpkin have fallen on my head, what will happen to my head? It will crack open. 5 kilo pumpkin fall on my head from that height. What will left of my head? So God's creation is perfect actually. It's big tree, there's a small fruit, so people come take rest under the shade of this tree. Even if a small fruit fall down, nothing happens. So people think there is a flaw in the creation of God, but it's not the flaw in the creation. Flaw is in us only, in our understanding.
So there are so many trees with big fruits also. Jackfruit.
There are fruits, but those trees do not have shade. Okay, you have to understand. Those trees don't have shade. Now look at the coconut tree. Coconut tree is so tall, nice big coconuts, but the coconut tree does not have any shade.
Mango.
Banyan tree.
Mango tree is very big.
Banyan tree, fruit is small, tiny. Mango also, yes, there is a shade, but mango also, if it falls down, you get nice tasty fruit to eat. Right? You will not repent. Why this mango fell on my head? So there is no fault in creation. Fault is in our understanding. We have to understand that. We have to understand the creation systematically. Any more question? Just 2-minute quiz time. Okay, your
So
question.
has God made every single person, or did He make a few people in the beginning and they had kids?
Okay, very nice. Nice question. Did God create everything? Yes, God creates everything. He has created a system. Right? There is a system, husband and wife, they unite together. From them, there is another life comes up. But the soul, the underlying principle, not the body, the soul, everything is coming from God. Yes, in the beginning, when this universe was created, The first created being was Brahma, which came out from the body of the Lord itself. See, Lord does not need to unite with the woman to make a creation, to create a human being. It's not that the Lord had to marry another goddess, another woman, and then he will create something. From a navel of the Lord, a lotus sprouted, and from the lotus, one first living entity was born. Who is that? Brahma. And then Brahma started creating. From Brahma's creation, what was Brahma's first creation? He created some sages, and then he created the first human being, Manu and Satarupa. The first man and woman, Manu and Satarupa. And then Brahma gave them the task, okay, now fill the world with progeny. And through them, another children started to come. And through them, another generation started to come. So yes, there is a system put together, but who has created everybody? God is the creator of everybody. And Manu is the first human being, and from Manu comes this human race, Manushya. Right? That's why we call Manushya or Manav, because it comes from Manu. Okay, any other question? I hope everything clear. So quick quiz time, very quick. So what are the proofs for existence of God? Just as a recap, so everybody have a take-home message. So what are the proofs for existence of God? Just define those three simple statements.
Creator.
For every urge, there is fulfillment in nature. Creation implies a creator. Laws imply a lawmaker. Remember this simple statement, and then you can fill it with examples. Right? So next time somebody asks you a question, you should be able to explain. Problem is, our kids ask us question, people don't have any answer. How will they understand? If you don't teach them dharma, somebody will teach them adharma other day. So we need to understand first of all, so you can explain to others also. So the proof of existence of God, remember that. What are the different aspects of God? Is God Saguna or Nirguna? So what are the different aspects of God? No, I'm not asking what are the different characteristics, qualities of God. I'm saying what are the different aspects of God in which we can understand God. Is God Saguna or Nirguna? Okay. Only Saguna?
Both.
He's both. He's Saguna and Nirguna, both. He carries both qualities. And what are the three aspects in which God can be understood? No, again, those will be Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. He's all these three features simultaneously. So he's Saguna, Nirguna, both. Not just Nirguna. Saguna is his highest aspect. Bhagavan. Right? He possesses a form. So Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. These are the three aspects of God. Now the third question is what you were already answering. What are the different characteristics of God? He is a supreme controller. Omnipresent. Proprietor. Enjoyer. Creator, supreme creator. So supreme creator, maintainer, controller, proprietor, enjoyer, omnipresent. So these are the different characteristics of God. And then the basic definition, he possesses all the opulences. He is the most beautiful. He is the most strongest. He is most knowledgeable. He is most renounced. These are the qualities of God. Somebody who possesses all these in full, he is God. So we'll stop here for today's session and we'll continue with our next topic in the next session.